Often the story is that the children have been puffy off and on for a while.
So I woke up and my eye was all swollen.
Sometimes he'd wake up from his naps with his eyes all swollen and puffy.
They may have even been treated for allergies because people have noticed that they've had facial swelling or things like that.
And we thought it was maybe an allergic reaction.
I thought it must be a reaction to maybe the makeup that they put on her.
And often what happens is grandma comes to visit, and basically grandma's response is, "Holy, what's wrong with your child?"
My mom noticed that his stomach was really bloated.
But because the parents are seeing their child every day, they don't notice the gradual swelling and swelling.
And she said, "Karen, there's something wrong."
They go to a doctor, and the physician identifies excessive fluid.
So I gained 46 pounds of fluid.
All of a sudden, my body started to retain water.
And I looked down at my feet. They were bulging out of my penny loafers.
And they check blood tests, and they check urine tests, and they find that there's a low level of protein in the blood, and all that protein is being leaked in the urine. And that's how the typical story begins.
And that's when the doctors realized there was something wrong with my kidneys.
It was a syndrome. I remember the term syndrome.
He has nephrotic syndrome. My husband and I looked at each other and was like, what is that?
I had nephrotic syndrome.
And I have nephrotic syndrome.
I have this kidney disease called nephrotic syndrome.
You know, that word in itself sounded so overwhelming.
All the medical terms sounded like a foreign language and scary.
And then his doctor comes back in. She's like, put your phones down, get off your phones. Everything you're reading is negative. It may not all be true.
I always tell people if you put 100,000 children in the Rose Bowl, which is a scary thought, 16 of them would have nephrotic syndrome. So it's considered a rare disorder.
There's no real cause. There's no real cure.
These are not acute illnesses. These are chronic illnesses.
16 years is a long time to be sick.
I've had 23 years.
You're always sick, sometimes less so, sometimes, horribly so. So there's not one aspect of your life that's not completely turned over.